Testing. I liked it. I'll do it. Hello, everyone. Oh, this is loud. This is loud. Thank you all for coming and for staying. This is the time when we're hoping some of you will share some of your fondest and maybe even not so fond, some of the naughty ones, memories of Mel and Gary and their life, and Lila and Mike and Aaron and the whole family. So we're glad you're here. We don't have any real planned program. We want you all to enjoy that's a great picture, isn't it? Yeah. Want you all to enjoy the photos that we've assembled of Gary's life, much of it with Mel, a lot of it with Gary's family and Mel's family. And just share your thoughts. Ken Medema is here somewhere. There, he's at the piano. Would you like to lead off with some music, Ken?
No, I'd like to hear some stories.
Okay. I have one. I'll start. As you can tell, I kind of like to talk sometimes. The fondest memories I have of Mel and Gary, some of them have occurred in Palm Desert, when Mel's wonderful caretaker, Ron, and all of the people on their staff. Thank you, Ron, so much for everything you've done. I've gotten to know Ron quite well myself, as my husband Steve and I have visited them quite often. Gary, of course, as we heard in the words from his brother and his niece, was a caretaker and a caregiver himself. As a matter of fact, about a month before he passed, Gary said, "I think Mel's going to live to be 100. And he didn't say it as though he didn't want it to happen, but he was, I think, worried of getting tired, and of course, he didn't, sadly. But I remember, I'll never forget, August 12th, at about 10 in the morning on the East Coast, I got a phone call from Mel saying, I can't raise Gary. I'm calling him. They had a little bell to summon Gary to help, and he wasn't answering, and Mel was very, very worried. And I didn't even get the call till about 2 hours later, unfortunately, because Steve and I were in New York, and I had my phone on silent, so it went to voicemail. I couldn't reach Mel at that point, so I called the only person that I could think of to call who would know. I called Lila. She answered. She told me George and his husband and was there with Mel and with Gary and handling things, so I got a lot of comfort out of that. Anyway, it has been a long journey for all of us, and some of you must have stories. You can either use the roving mic or you can come up here. That would be even better if you don't mind. But if you'll do it here in front, it would be good, because we are broadcasting this so that Gary's family in Arizona and their family in the UK and other places around the world are all watching. So be careful what you say. Aaron?
I give the mic.
I have a happy story. I fell in love with him from a distance. He was singing in the amazing Requiem, and I said, I gotta talk to him, I gotta meet him. And so the choir went down into the choir room, and I followed. I hid in the choir robes. I didn't want him to know, but he knew I'm down there, so Finally, I saw a person in the choir that I knew, and I thought I'd go out and say, would you introduce me to this guy? And as I went out of the choir robe, I slipped, and I fell flat on my butt right in front of Gary. So that was his introduction to me, awkward. And from then on, I knew that it was right from the beginning, and I've never looked back. He's looked back a lot. But I tell you, I'm so grateful for those years. Anyway, my turn.
Requiem, requiem, requiem aeternam. Hear him singing in the choir. Something within me is set afire. Meet him, meet him. I simply have to meet him. So I go down to the choir room, and like so many times before, I'm hiding in the closet. There he comes. What shall I do? There he comes. What shall I say? Up he goes, and I will follow, and that's the moment I fell for him. Literally fell for him. I'd fall flat on my derriere. That's what I'd do for you. I'd fall flat on my derriere. That's what I do. That's what I do to get just one tiny introduction to you. Yeah.
Okay, can you hear this? Okay, so my dad asked me to say some words tomorrow about Gary, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of fun. When I think of Gary, I think of that scene from Steel Magnolias where Truvy says, or Clarice says to Truvy, well, you can't say something nice, come sit by me. The Dolly Parton's character. And that was Gary for me. We all know he could keep a secret, not that I would talk trash about anyone, but he would be the one person that I could just kind of give him a look and just go sit by him, and I knew he was just that safe rock for me. He was that person that was always safe that I could always go and sit with and just smile, because, you know, if you can't say something nice, go sit by me.
Something I gotta say. It might be just embarrassing. Something I gotta say, but I can't tell anyone but you. Something I gotta say. Somebody's being oh so stupid. It's amazing how dumb people can be, the dumb things they can do. Just let me tell you. Talkity, talkity, let me tell you, talkity, talkity, let me tell you, yabbity, bubbity, 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 let me tell you, let me tell you, now you won't tell anybody what I've just told you. You'll keep it a secret, I know that's what you'll do. So if I can't say something nice, I'll come sit next to you. Talk a little bit, and I'll vent a little bit about the stupid, stupid, stupid things folks do.
I'll come around. So my name is Jacob, and I lived with Mel and for about a year while I was planning the Soul Force Equality Ride. And we lived together in Lynchburg, Virginia. And from the day I arrived in Lynchburg to the day I left, Gary made beautiful, gorgeous meals every night. And I tried to do the dishes, maybe not the first night, but one of the nights, and opened up the dishwasher, and it was a bread cabinet. It had never been used as a dishwasher, I don't think ever. But that house has special fond memories for me, and Gary made that house gorgeous. I was there over a Christmas season. I've been over there for many Christmas seasons, actually, but I lived there over a Christmas season, and it was like a Macy's Christmas Day's display with how many trees he had and how many decorations he had. But it was his pleasure and his joy to make that house a home, and he did so in many ways with dinners and meals. I will also say I didn't meet many gay men in Lynchburg, Virginia, but I did one time bring a guy home. And I woke up in the morning and Gary had a toothbrush and toothpaste waiting on the top of the stairs for the guy. So that was Gary.
In Gary's kitchen, you'll taste the bread of kindness. In Gary's kitchen, the wine of sweet communion. In Gary's kitchen, all are welcomed. In Gary's kitchen, you can taste the taste of love. In Gary's overnight house, you'll find a toothbrush. He'll take care of every need, even the ones you don't know. In Gary's house, you'll taste such sweet communion. It follows him everywhere he goes. Good taste follows him everywhere he goes.
I just want to say that I'm Jake's mother. And I appreciate it so much that Mel and Gary took him in for a year as he planned the equality ride. But one thing I asked Gary to do was to teach Jake how to cook and clean. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And Gary put up with Jake and the way Jake lives for that whole year. And it was just so sweet and so kind.
You may be living just outside the box. You may be just a bit out of the ordinary, but you can count on this. No matter what or who you are, you'll find a place with Gary.
Hey, I'm John Mays. I lived about a mile down the street from Mel and Gary in Long Beach. It was a real honor to be their neighbor for the time that they were there. It's kind of an ironic thing for me in that Mel had entered my life 20 years earlier when his book changed my life. And so to suddenly be down the street from them was just a real gift. But the extra gift obviously was in getting to know Gary. And I just wanted to share an anecdote of a little story that involved Gary. Obviously, everyone, I assume, has been to or seen pictures of their house at Christmas time. Pretty extreme. If you had been to my house, you would understand why I say extreme, because I hardly decorate. But when I would go over to Mel and Gary's house, Gary would always ask, would you like something to drink? And so I would tell him, because I'm not very good at coming up with drinks, that I would like a bourbon and Coke. So he would very graciously give me a bourbon and Coke. And it's a pretty habitual thing to ask every time I would go over. I would ask for a bourbon and Coke. Well, one Christmas comes around, and we know that out of the two, Gary is the one to be the gift giver, the gift picker-outer. And so that year, I received a pretty big gift. It was a large box. I went over to their house, and I opened it up, and it is a case of Jack Daniels. And you have to understand, I don't keep alcohol in the house. The only time I drink is when I would go over to their house or the occasional time at the bar. So I was like, what am I going to do with this? But it is a true testament to Gary's generosity and to his love of Costco. But Mel remarked at me later he wasn't really sure why Gary had picked this out because he understood that it was a little bit of an odd gift. But I truly took it to heart. I thought of it as really, again, a beautiful sign of Gary's generosity. And my friends really enjoyed it too because I gave those bottles away.
I'd like to tell you just how I got this great big bottle of old Jack Daniels. I'd like to tell you the circumstances that made this all come true. I got a friend who never drinks when he is there at home. The only time he drinks, Gary, is when he is there with you. So you gave to him this wondrous Christmas present. He gave all those bottles away. And I was one of those lucky ones who received this special Christmas gift. And so, Gary, I would like to say, I've never met you, not in this whole wide world. The only way that I know just who you are, you gave me a bottle of good old Jack Daniels, and that has taken me far. All my friends who come to see me, they drink bourbon every time. I found myself wishing you had given more away, because it's gone now, and I don't know what I'm going to do. Gary, I cannot help but thank you for the gift you gave to your friend who gave it to me, and I now can say that bottle almost never came to an end. Oh, yeah.
I'd like to say something about Ken. Ken, we were friends for a long time, and you made up a lot of songs in my past, but the one thing I do remember is traveling with you and my kids and your kids and Jane and the baby up the coast of California, looking for a nice little slum in San Francisco where Jane could do her work. It was amazing. And when we were on the beach, we got on roller skates, and you skated, and you had to follow me, and I'm awkward because you couldn't see, but you could hear my skates. You have been an amazing friend through the years, and this is a big day for Mel, and he really wanted you here, and I'm so glad you're here because your voice is better than ever, and you are a song of love.
Lila, beautiful lady, you stole my heart way back in the 70s. Lila, those dates at the Candidery, those times in your swimming pool, I remember oh so well. Lover, you were such a lover. You took care of us every day and night. Yes, I remember that day on roller skates. I think I'd follow you everywhere and anywhere and any day and night. Lila, such a special friend to me. You taught me oh so much about kindness and courage. Laughter, there was always laughter. Some wondrous new idea, some wondrous new things to play. Lila, you'll be in my heart for as long as I live on this earth. And partly because of you, we moved to San Francisco. So many new plans have come to birth. You're truly a queen of the heart. No one like you on this earth.
Hi, my name is George Lynch, and it has been my privilege to be friends with Mel and Gary for 40 years. We met in 1984, and we were part of a clergy support group back then, and so over the years as they've moved around Southern California and then to Texas and to Virginia and then back to California, it was wonderful. Back around 2012, I think, when you guys moved back to Long Beach, that we kind of, our friendship kind of picked up again. And then my husband Louie and I moved to the desert, to the Palm Springs area in 2018. And a year later, Mel and Gary came out for a weekend visit, and that's it. They got up the next morning. Gary went online, and he found a house. And he said, "That's my house." And we went over that day to look at this house. It was the first day it was on the market, and they bought that house that day. And those of you who will be coming tomorrow, you get to see that fabulous house. But the one story I wanted to share about Gary, or at least which was quintessential Gary. If you ever went to their house for a meal, whether it was a grand meal or a hamburger, Gary would pull out the stops, the china, the crystal, the flatware, the cloth napkins. I mean, you were almost afraid to eat off of it because it was so grand. But that was Gary, and he made anything like that special. So that's a fond memory I have.
It's another grand night with Gary. It's another night of celebration. No sense wasting this perfect night on anything cheap, on anything old. He buys his clothes for only $2, but God, he's got some lovely flatware. So we'll bring everything out tonight, and we'll have a grand celebration. It's another night with Gary, a night for celebration, a night for the kitchen to be a grand place to be, another night for Gary and friends and me.
Hello, my name is Diana Westbrook, and I was fortunate to be able to work with Mel and Gary for a number of years in Soul Force events, including the very first one in Lynchburg. And you guys remember the media frenzy that occurred when Jerry Falwell invited 200 homosexuals to meet with him in Lynchburg. Now, it was more nuanced than that, of course, but that was the word on the street. Anyway, I was fortunate to be able to attend some of the interviews that Mel and Gary conducted. And this one memory is from an interview in Lynchburg. The interviewer was asking Mel, well, why are you coming here? What do you want to say to Jerry Falwell? And Mel was, saying, well, I like Jerry Falwell. He's a friend of mine, and he's sincere, but he's sincerely wrong. We're coming to Lynchburg to confront the untruths that he is telling about my people and my community. We're bringing the truth in love to Jerry Falwell. And so it went on like that for a minute. And then the reporter turned to Gary and said, well, Mr. Nixon, what do you think of all this? What do you think of Jerry Falwell? And Gary said, I think he's a lying bag of shit, and he wouldn't recognize the truth if it bit him in the ass.
Mel is the great politician, always saying things in a gentle way. Mel is the great maker of friends everywhere. He is going to know just what to say. Well, now, Jerry, he's my friend, but the only trouble is he's got things wrong. Well, Jerry, he's my friend, and that could be the end of the song, but it's not. Gary, too damn gutsy for his own good. Gary, he never hides it. He always says what he thinks. You know he would. Now who in the world will call Jerry Falwell a big old bag of shit? It's gotta be Gary. Have you lost your wits? It's gotta be Gary. No, I'm believing it.
And he's been our friend all these decades. One time he said to Lila, I'm going to Hawaii to sing. Can Mel go with me? And she said, sure. He said, I want to learn to surf. And I said, sure. We rented him a surfboard. He got on the surfboard. He said, which way? And he went out, and people were looking at him because he was going the wrong way. And when he finally hit the wave, actually the wave hit him, and he sprawled. And I was so proud of him at that moment because he came to the surface spitting water and saying, how did I do? Another time, he said to Lila, can he go? I have to sing in Christmas in England. Can I go to England? She said, sure, go ahead. So we went to England, and we got there on a snowy Christmas Eve, and a Salvation Army band was playing outside of the bar where we went in to have eggs and a beer and all that stuff they do. I had no idea what he was going to do. And they said, let's go. I'm going to go sing. Okay, where are you going to sing? He said, I'm going to sing in Albert Hall. That's a big one. And he went up on the stage. The curtains opened. And for an hour with this huge choir, he really made it sing. And like you've had a chance to see him do it too. I mean, this is one amazing guy. And I hope he lives forever. Sorry about that.
I want to live long enough to see you tap dance. I want to live long enough to see you run around. I want to live long enough to run together somewhere. I want to live long enough to see all that come true. Now I thank you for your stories. I thank you for your love. I thank you for the openness that made these moments move. And now I think we need to have just a little more food and drink. That's what I think. That's what I think. And I thank you all for being here in this sweet holy place. Stories and laughter circulating around the place. And we'll all live long enough to see you walk and run. Won't that be fun? Beloved one, won't that be fun? Hey, Gary, do you see it? Hey, Gary, he's walking. Hey, Gary, he's running. Hey, Gary, he's tap dancing. Won't that be fun?
There's several things I didn't do in my little talk today. One was to thank the friends who are here from all over the crazy country. And it was just so delightful that you could come. And you don't know how much you made my day. There were so many things I wanted to say today because for 40 years I had a guy who hardly said anything. But when he said something, I jumped. I'm going to miss him a lot. But for you guys who came all this way, I mean, from many East Coast towns, thank you. And thank the rest of you for coming and eating all that good food. And if you want to take home some extra, just leave $500 on the table. But thank you for coming.
Excuse me. My name is Jim Wright, and I was just alluding to some of the East Coast folks here. I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia, here with my wife, Marty. Just want to relate a couple of quick Gary anecdotes. A few years ago when they were living in Long Beach, we visited our daughter, Hope, who was a rising senior in high school, was with us. And Gary is the one who took her prom dress shopping all day and found the right dress. Earlier than that even, I think it was a February night, Mel and Mike were going to be on the Great Race. Gary invited my wife Marty and I, our daughter Hope, and an exchange student that we had living with us at the time, and we were all invited over to Gary's. We actually all crowded onto the king-size bed to watch the Great Race, Gary, which was wonderful.
So I think that's the end of the program. But again, thank you so much for being here, for my dad and for Gary, and joining us here today. And it means the world to the whole family. And travel safe to wherever you're going. And I hope we can enjoy a little more time together. And thank you again.
We're having a party tomorrow that will make this look like the slums. At 48625 Valley View Drive, we fixed up. Gary always bought a house that we knew he was going to do something with. But he died before he could do a lot with this one, so we did it for him. It is an amazing experience. And so at 12 noon, we're going to have one of those, a mariachi band, and then one of those drinks you put salt on the edge. And then we're going to have a Mexican feast. So it was an RSVP thing, but we've only had 30 people RSVP. So you ought not to miss it because it's going to be a good time. And the other thing I had to say was, thank you, Ken. Oh, God. You are one of a kind.